and welcome. MBA Global Alumni, our first annual Dialogues event, the intention of which is to connect you to each other as alumni, connect you to our current MBA students, those that are here with us throughout the week, and connect you back to your business school to discover what it is we're up to in the way of teaching and, importantly, our research. So we've got about 90 minutes. The intention is that we have a talk from Professor Alexandra Gerbasi to talk to you about the business school as a whole. Then I'm going to introduce you to our global ambassadors, and then we're going to have 20 minutes in breakout rooms, exploring questions, getting you connected, getting you talking. So that is our intention. I'm delighted to welcome Professor Alexandra Gerbasi, our Deputy Provost Vice Chancellor. I didn't put my teeth in, Pro-Vice Chancellor for the Business School, and she's going to share with you some important updates and some exciting information about what's going on at Exeter right now. Alex.
Thanks, Jackie. I'm delighted to join you today. Some of you I know from my time teaching on the MBA, so good to see some of you, and those of you I haven't met before, nice to meet you. Jackie asked me to see to give you a bit of an overview of what we've done in research over the past year. Now, a lot goes on in the business school in terms of research. So I've just picked out a couple of highlights for you that really sit across some of the main themes of the business school. So really, if I want to try to boil this down for you into three main themes, we really work on themes of environmental intelligence, responsible leadership, and technological transitions. You'll have encountered a lot of this while you were taking part in the Exeter MBA, and it's really a pleasure to get to talk to you about some of these projects. So if we take the environmental intelligence theme, just a couple things to highlight. So we now have someone whose name is Ben Groom, who is the Dragon Capital Chair in Biodiversity Economics. We're one of the first universities to have such a post. And we're really excited about Ben and his work, which is tackling some really interesting questions. But we're also seeing some really interesting projects emerge in this area. So Oliver Hauser, who some of you will have met, I know he's taught a course in economics before on the MBA. He has this fantastic paper on air pollution in China. It's actually fallen 48% due to the impact of COVID. But part of what's so exciting about this is that this was part of a collaboration with NASA. Not a huge number of business schools are doing collaborations with NASA. So this is a really exciting opportunity for us. And we're also being able to see really exciting things about how linking electricity data to GDP and how that's shifted during COVID and how this is affecting the economy. Now, obviously, you could think about ramifications of that. And we're also seeing some work by Ian Bateman, who is one of the leaders in natural capital economics. And he's looking at really different ways to show the value of natural capital, such as Ian works a lot on land and trees. You may have encountered his work on palm oil, and actually the destructive nature of palm oil farming. So I've asked Jackie and Josh to share these slides with you guys afterwards so that you can actually click on these links and read some of these. Now, I know that many of you will also have done some work in circular economy while you were with us. I know it's a big draw here. We are really excited to be the home of the UKRI Circular Economy Hub, and we're basically at the center of a £30 million investment in circular economy in the UK, and we are at the core of this. We've also recently launched the University of Exeter Center for Sustainable Finance, which I know is taking a really center role in understanding and helping with organizations as they pivot to thinking about not just profit, but how they contribute to the environment. And some of the projects in here, there's a really cool article about the evolution of self-healing materials and how they play into the circular economy, and Chendi Zhang's research on how green and social policies actually are helping certain stocks be more buoyant, let's use that term, during the COVID crash. So those companies who are thinking just outside of profit are being better able to maintain their returns. Now, in the highlighting this week, I know that on the 26th, Ryan Shepard is going to be giving a talk on moving sustainability forward. So I would encourage you to attend that if you're not already signed up. Now, moving on to responsible leadership, I guess this is the area I personally sort of sit in as well. I love this project by Jamie Glore, who's a new member of staff who joined us last year, about why soft skills could power the rise of robot leaders. Well, wow, who thought about thinking about having a robot as a boss? That's got to be complicated. Not yet for me, but we can think about this. But Jamie's also been at the center of a £1 million grant for researching non-traditional leadership. So whether that's robots, AIs, different ways about thinking about how leadership works, really exciting work. Some other exciting projects that I think is really valuable is, and I think COVID has really put an emphasis on, well, how do we manage work-life balance and work-family balance? And so this great piece by Jamie Ladge is a review of that and gives some really interesting highlights to move forward to. And you wouldn't think about corporate reporting as the future of work, but it is. There is some really interesting changes coming about in corporate reporting and how it's helping and hindering organizations. So I would encourage you to click on that article later and dig into that. In terms of decision making, now there's some really cool stuff going on here. I'm not going to walk you through all of it, but one of the really, really interesting ones is this work about social media accounts and who we follow, and that's how that's determined by our personality types. This is a new member of staff, Mohsen Mosla, and he's got a TED Talk that just came out, and it's really interesting. So he studies Twitter data, and who you follow and what they're tweeting about is partially determined by your personality, but also we tend to form these bubbles that are reinforcing what we study. What we see and what we read. You form those bubbles, and that works really fun and really exciting. Fun maybe is not the right word. Depends on what you're into, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. Right, and actually, two of our staff, I think many of you will have met, certainly Hannes, if any of you have been on if you've been to Norway, you probably have met Hannes, but he will be joining Ilka Ingulu on the 27th, talking about the future of work and well-being post-COVID. So I think that session will be pretty exciting. I might even join in myself if my calendar is free. All right. And when we come to technological transitions, in terms of digital economy, I'm really proud to see say that our project known as Digit won a £12 million bid from UKRI. And this is really about driving forward the digital transitions of organizations. And this is really fascinating stuff. There's also a really cool project that's from within that Digit group about how actually automating different parts of gift aid could actually see charities benefit a whole bunch more, £560 million more, which would be fantastic. And if you weren't familiar with the project called NHS Quicker that came out of the business school, I think it's a really interesting one that basically uses big data to identify which waiting room. I'm sorry, I'm going to be American about this. I was going to say emergency room, but which A&E you should go to if you have a medical ailment by looking at the waiting time. So comparing travel distance and waiting times, really cool, exciting project. So then if we go on to AI and analytics, if you haven't encountered Edmund Awad, fascinating guy, but he's really interested. He studies automated cars because he sort of studies ethics. But people are blamed more than their cars, automated cars, when they both make mistakes as a paper in Nature. Really interesting about how we make decisions about, who's to blame when we're dealing with automated things in AI. We're blaming the person, not the AI. You'll see some of these do link back to environmental intelligence, but we're looking at some new tools to help Cornwall's wildlife and landscapes. There's a huge amount of investment in Cornwall, and you should check out that project. And then this is really interesting. This project that basically reads what people type in responses in things like Twitter and other social media platforms. They're there to help combat and monitor and regulate fake news. I think there's been some recent developments where some of those platforms are trying to combat that themselves, but other tools that we can take advantage of to reduce the impact of cyberbullying and fake news. Now, there's a Fintech speech with Georgie Hazel on the 28th, and I think that will be really exciting. I remember when Georgie was with us on the MBA, so I'm sure that'll be exciting. Now, this was a very quick overview of our research. I'm happy to answer a few questions if Jackie tells me time is available. She might tell me no, that's fine. But I do want to take this moment to let you know that we have launched, literally as of today, well-timed for this talk, a new thought leadership page called Exeter Expertise, and the link is here, which where we post articles, insights, podcasts from our academics that we think are relevant to the world today. So I would really encourage you to engage with that website and use it as an opportunity to keep track of what we at the business school are up to. And we do a pretty good job. It's much improved these days of news releases, especially on Twitter, if you want to follow some of the cool research that's coming out of the business school.
We will send those slides out, Alex, and I guess that there's a contact email on there, and I know that we can find you on Twitter and LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, just the University of Exeter Business School, their Twitter handle is there, and then I think there's an email address on the Exeter Expertise webpage, and Charlotte has kindly put the link into the chat.
Lovely.
So,
Alex, can I ask something about the research? It's a very basic question. I guess I didn't want to ask because it was too basic. To engage with the research, is there any other way than being a researcher?
That's not too basic of a question. That's a really interesting question, actually. There are multiple ways you can participate and engage with research. So there are things like, we would really encourage people to engage with things like Exeter Expertise, which is a thought leadership. You can be a research participant. And I would like to actually say there are really cool ways that you can kind of give back. I think as an MBA community, if you would like to engage in research or your company would like to be involved in participating, please send. You all probably know Camilla. Do they all know Camilla, Jackie? Yeah, I'm seeing heads nod. Yes, we know Camilla. Get in touch with Camilla. Camilla works with the exact entity in the university that connects organizations with researchers. So we're always really happy to have companies or people who want to say, hi, yes, I want to engage, I want to be involved. And there's a huge demand of researchers who want to engage with the real world. And oftentimes we're able to work with the companies to help them solve certain problems, if that's the case. And if it's not with faculty, there are plenty of opportunities to work with students. I know they're always looking for opportunities to work with students for the MBA projects and in other areas as well. Some of the, I know FAFM, which is Financial Analysis and Fund Management. I'm going to wait for somebody to nod at me. Thank you. Just generally referred to as FAFM around here. They have a similar set of projects, similar to the MBA project. So if you're in the finance industry, opportunities to work with some really engaging students on research projects there as well. So we're always happy to take those kinds of opportunities and work with you. And, you know, one of the things I think is personally very important, why we do have an alumni community, is to foster those opportunities, because it should be a cycle of lifelong sort of learning and engagement with your university. And Josh did not tell me I had to say that. I promise you. That's actually something I personally believe in. So as much as you guys want to be involved, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. I can see a little pin, which I thought was my mic crossed out. That's really good of you. It's a great overview. It gives us a sense of where we're going. Like we said, the website is always up to date, and keep an eye on LinkedIn and Twitter. Thank you so much. Josh, I'm going to hand over to Josh Papanicola to talk to you and give you a little bit about what the Global MBA Ambassadors is all about. Over to you, Josh.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you very much, Alex. Appreciated the mention of lifelong learning and alumni engagement at the end of that talk. Hi everyone, I'm Josh Papanicola. I'm the Alumni Engagement and Volunteering Manager for the Business School, and I'm just going to talk to you a bit about the Exeter MBA Global Alumni Ambassadors Programme. So the Exeter MBA Alumni Global Ambassadors Programme is essentially we've got a great group of about 30 MBA alumni graduates who very kindly volunteered their time to help build this Exeter MBA alumni community across the globe and support Exeter. But I'm going to start off by telling you why we think we need an MBA Alumni Ambassadors Programme. Many of you will know that the Exeter MBA and its graduates are spread across the whole world, actually in more than 83 different countries. We've got 2,000 alumni in total. And so with that widespread an alumni community, if we as a business school, which we do, we want to continue our relationship with our alumni, we want to support them in their desire to engage in research at the business school, lifelong learning, but also, you know, we want any Exeter MBA alumni who wish to help facilitate them giving back to Exeter in terms of supporting current MBA students in, for example, the way that Alex mentioned with consultancy projects and connecting to industry. We feel we needed a group of individuals across the world to act as lightning rods in each region and in as many countries as possible. So, you know, we genuinely believe that alumni are our best advocates and our best ambassadors. So some of the activities that these individuals are helping us with include to help organize events like this. So we had a group of MBA ambassadors, alumni, who acted as a working committee and helped form the agenda for this Alumni Dialogues week-long series of events. And once, you know, hopefully we return to holding physical events, these ambassadors will be hosting events for MBA alumni in their home countries and in their regions, social events, networking events, to keep you connected with Exeter and to keep MBA alumni connected with each other. And then, of course, as I mentioned, these MBA ambassadors have already been supporting the MBA program and its current students with things like mentorship, and also spreading the word about Exeter MBA to future MBA participants. You can see on this slide here in the bottom right, you've got Majid, who is our alumni ambassador in Saudi Arabia, and he actually managed to appear on Saudi TV over Christmas and spoke all about the business school, Exeter and the MBA. And I know he had some inquiries from future MBA students off the back of it. Now I'm going to pass you over to Jorandi, Jorandi Scholtz is one of our MBA alumni ambassadors based in South Africa, who graduated from the class 2018. So if I stop sharing my screen, and hopefully Jorandi is on the call.
I am.
Excellent. Jorandi, I'll pass over to you. Jorandi's going to talk a bit about why she's an MBA Alumni Ambassador.
Thank you, Josh. Hello, everyone. It's really lovely to see so many familiar faces and familiar names, but equally as many faces and names that I'm not familiar with. And I'm quite excited throughout this week to engage with many of you and get to know you and form part of this community that Josh has spoken about, and Alex, and even Jackie has alluded to the fact that the whole purpose of this week is for us to engage and to start forming this supportive community. Now, the reason why I agreed when Josh approached me and asked whether I would form part of the MBA Alumni Ambassador Group is because in the months prior to him approaching me, I had an opportunity or two to engage with future students of the business school. And also I dropped in a call of the previous MBA cohort where I just spoke about them and the way forward, etc. And it was during those engagements that I realized the importance of staying connected to the university. In my own personal experience, when I returned home in 2018 after completing the MBA, I returned home to, and I was a completely changed person, but everything that I returned home to was still exactly the same. And in between being back home, searching for a job, not being successful at the very first try or even the 10th or the 20th try, you kind of lose track of the fact that you did actually complete an MBA and all of the achievements you had there, all of the exposure you had there. And for me, being involved with the university, whether it was simply attending a webinar that they hosted about whatever topic, or then making a call to a future business school student, those interactions really reminded me of the fact that I was indeed in Exeter. I did have a great achievement there, and it gave me the self-confidence again to really approach my job search with the confidence that is needed when you do that. And apart from that, also the fact that you are involved gives you the opportunity to give back, whether it is connecting with someone, growing your network and helping them out with anything they might need, or then speaking to a new MBA student or someone who is looking to go and study at the University of Exeter. It really is an opportunity to engage with them and give back and guide them on their journey. So I would really like to encourage all of you to take part in events like the one that we have this week and all of the ones that we will plan in future. And not only with these events, but also get involved in whatever other way you can with the university. There you are welcome to reach out to Josh or to anyone in the MBA team, and they will be sure to find you somewhere where you can be of use.
Thank you. That's super. Thank you, Jorandi.